So next we're going to talk about theme explorations, and theme explorations are bigger, I would say. They take more work and preparation, but I think the outcome is very meaningful for the class and the students and the teachers. So what a theme exploration is, it describes a mean of organizing instruction around a broad theme and connected sub-themes rather than around one content area, or instead of just using weather and science, it could be weather around the world, and it's connecting sub-themes, and it's including, a very wide, broad theme rather than a small, kind of boxed in almost content area. So it's much larger, much more choices for the students to choose from for literature once you have it all compiled. It's motivating to both teachers and students. Theme explorations move beyond topic coverage to dynamic ideals, and it allows for deeper examination of ideas and ideals through quality literature that encourages response and higher level thinking. So when they're seeing and reading all of these various perspectives, they're more likely to have higher level thinking and response to the literature in class and for the teacher, and it's very motivating for the teacher to do this again, and it benefits the students in their understanding. So how do we go about making a theme exploration? What is the process? First, you need to choose a broad-based theme, which is harder than you think. It needs to be very wide and broad and not specific at all. Then you need to brainstorm related children's literature. We'll go through these steps in the following slides to give you more ideas of how to do this. Then you locate additional children's literature. You create a graphic web reflecting connectedness between main theme and related sub-themes. This is what helps you visualize in the direction the theme is going, how things are related, and it really helps the teacher in implementing and planning this theme exploration. The fifth step is to planning literature-based response activities designed for whole class, small group, and individual learning. And then you share the theme exploration with the classroom. So you're sharing it with your students. Some teachers show them that graphic organizer. Maybe they make it into more of a kid-friendly poster or display, and that's also a motivating factor for the students, so that they themselves can see the connections that you thought of as you were meaningfully and purposefully planning this theme for your group of students. So for your first step when you're choosing your broad-based theme, it says that choosing a broad theme can make the difference between a mediocre and a powerful theme exploration. So it needs to be broad enough that it gives the students freedom and choice to choose the materials and the way that they would like to use this theme exploration, and maybe they'll find connections that you didn't think of. So it needs to be broad enough, and choice is important. Teachers must open possibilities for choosing themes to the students. Interest and motivation can influence the selection and direction the theme exploration takes. So you can allow your students to help you come up with a theme, or maybe they became really interested in a topic in class and it's something that you feel is worth going more into a very broad, open, in-depth exploration of that topic, and your students are motivated for it, so go right ahead. So when you're brainstorming and locating literature, the goal is to locate literature across all literary genres. So you're going to look for picture books, traditional folk tales, informational books, historical fiction, biographies and autobiographies, poetry, realistic fiction, fantasy, and multicultural literature. It can feel overwhelming to need to do this. Get input from teachers of various grade levels to find maybe they thought of a different topic or a different title that you hadn't, and that one title can open up several new titles. Or maybe they've tried this theme exploration before and they have some good ideas. Consult with your media specialist and librarian. They can have some good suggestions for you. And ask students what books may come to mind that they enjoy or that they know of that would lend itself to this theme exploration that you're going to have in class. There are tons of books, and this is going to take a lot of time and preparation, but in the end you'll have a good collection of quality literature that you can offer your students to read, and you know that it's something that is of high quality and can help deepen their understanding and interest. So then you want to locate additional literature. You want to keep continuing to search until the possibilities slow and connections are no longer meaningful, yet forced. Now, you don't want to force something to fit into your theme. You don't want to force a connection or it's not going to be meaningful. So once you continue to slow and you can't make meaningful connections, go ahead and stop. You should at this point have between 50 and 100 books. And there is a website for the BookLinks Journal on the ALA website that can be as a resource for locating additional literature. So then, after you have located the literature, you're going to absorb yourself into the literature. Now, it's impossible to read all of the books that you choose. So then you begin to identify the books by the genre and start grouping them that way. Locate possible read-alouds, and then make tentative response-based activities so you have an idea of some of the activities that would go along with each of the book. Connections between subtitles will become apparent. Spread your books out on the floor and begin to organize them in a meaningful way. So you're kind of making like a graphic organizer or a web sprawled out onto your floor to show the connections. Allow sub-themes to be created. Keep an open mind for the literature. Some sub-themes will come up that you hadn't thought about, so keep an open mind. And do not force books to fit into your theme, but attempt to include at least 6 genres. So if they don't fit into your theme, you can toss them out and don't use them. It's not meaningful to use them if they do not fit into your theme. After you have sorted the literature by genre and began to start your web on the floor, you have sorted the literature into 4 to 6 related sub-themes. The books will be linked to sub-theme categories, and new connections that you probably didn't expect will begin to emerge. If you're stuck in a traditional mode or you keep thinking the same thoughts and you're having trouble getting out of those, bring in a new set of eyes to find new connections. That can be other teachers, coworkers, a family member, a student. You can have a student come in to see if they find new connections. And that's okay. That's good. That'll make it more meaningful. Then you need to designate a core book and a related activity as a springboard for the exploration. Once again, this is to motivate your students for the theme. Then you're going to use a graphic organizer, and it's intended to be used as a theme exploration lesson plan. So in it, you will have the creative title for the theme exploration, motivated titles of 4 to 6 sub-themes, lists of literature related to those sub-themes, and response-based activities related to particular pieces of literature. So then, after you have created your lesson plan, you will start making your response-based connections to literature. So you'll have a mixture of whole class, small group, and individual response activities that should be created ahead of time. They could be listening to read-alouds, oral prompting, or free discussions, personal written responses. You can use interactive art, music, or performance activities. This can also include research, writing of math problems, hands-on science, or oral history interviews. It can really incorporate a lot of different ideas and response-based activities. Special attention should be given to opening literature and response to be used as motivation. So that first core book that you use, that activity that you go along with it, your response-based activity, you really need to give a good thought to that so that it is a motivating piece for your students and they are excited about this theme exploration and they're more inclined to want and be interested and engaged in doing really authentic reading response activities. Then you're going to share the theme exploration with the children in your classroom. Theme explorations can be used throughout the entire school day, but most often it's shared in half-day formats. The initial theme exploration can span a 2-week period, while teachers who have been doing theme explorations for a while and they are more experienced with it, they may stretch it across a 9-week quarter or in some cases across an entire school year. So that is up to the teacher for how long of a process it's going to be. It does take much planning and accessing materials, but the quality of comprehension justifies the theme exploration. So I know that some of you may be thinking pretty overwhelmed by the amount of work that goes into planning these, but the outcome is so excellent in the classroom and so meaningful for your students that I just encourage you to really take the time, and then once you have a list of books, you can, save it for the future.